Hello everybody and welcome to the train. My name's John Durrant and my guest today is Jodie Connor.
Hello.
Hi Jodie.
Hello.
I should point out that I've known Jodie for, well, she said to me it's 20 years today.
No, 20 years in October.
No, sorry, okay, 20 years in October. I've known Jodie for 20 years. I used to run a little therapy centre in Lark Lane, and Jodie came wandering in there one day and said, "Can I set up my holistic practice in here?"
It was actually when I was still at college. I did my work experience for it, and then carried on from there. If you remember.
I couldn't let you go, if I remember. You know my memory. But Jodie and I worked together for a long time there, and I know that Jodie has gone on with her practice from strength to strength.
Yeah.
And that today I want to talk to you about where you've gone to with Reiki.
Yeah.
And because I know that you've taken Reiki further, or taken healing further than just Reiki.
Yeah. I guess for myself, the thing with Reiki was when I did my first attunement, because it's in 3 levels. So your level 1 is all about self-healing and taking care of yourself, and you can use it on your family and friends. And then your level 2 is all about becoming a practitioner. So then you get given sacred symbols that enhance the energy, and you can use it for specific things. And then level 3 is what they call master teacher. I prefer the term teacher because I think I could do this for 300 years and I wouldn't consider myself a master. The more you learn, the more you realise you've got to learn, and then the more you realise you want to learn more.
I remember that you got to level 2 and you spent a long time before you would move forward.
Yeah, it was 4 years between level 1 and level 2, and it was about, let's say, so it wasn't until 2012 that I actually did my level 3.
And was this because you were finding so many more things to learn?
It was a combination of things. As you know, in 2008, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So I stopped work for 2 years. I had a nice 2-year sabbatical. So during that time, I had...
Not many people call that a nice 2-year sabbatical.
Do you know, it was in a kind of strange way. I look at everything that happens to us in life as a blessing and a lesson. So from that, it taught me to just slow down and to all these healthy things that I've been telling other people to do, to actually do more. So I not only had the conventional treatment, I had different rounds of chemotherapy and radiotherapy and blah blah blah, but I was very lucky that I also had a lot of complementary therapies running alongside it. So I had, I'm sure you remember Jan, she gave me homeopathy remedies, which meant I wasn't ill
from the chemotherapy.
I had regular reflexology treatments, which just helped to chill me out, and I had weekly Reiki.
Did you use Reiki on yourself, your own Reiki?
I tried to, but my head wasn't in the right place. So at that time, it was great to be able to go somewhere and have somebody else do that for me.
Very often it is actually better to let somebody else do these things than to try and do them yourself, isn't it?
That's kind of when my relationship with Reiki changed. It changed from being just another therapy that I offered to a way of life.
Okay, can I stop you there for just a minute, because you've mentioned a way of life.
Yeah.
You also mentioned symbols. Now, first of all, about Reiki itself, where does it come from? There's a guy who started it all.
So, Dr. Mikao Usui, and I hope I've pronounced that right.
Dr. Ushi is what I call him, but I know that's wrong.
We'll let you off with that. So he was born in 1865 in Japan. And Japan was still a very enclosed country at that time. And we were taught originally that he was a Catholic priest and blah blah blah. but it's actually transpired that that's not exactly true. It just made it more palatable for people in the West to accept him, because Reiki came to the West just after the Second World War.
Draws such a parallel between Christianity and pagan rituals and things that we've been talking previously. Sorry, I didn't mean to go off on a topic,
okay. But it's all
it makes
energy.
things more palatable. It's just annoying.
But he was asked by one of his students, did he believe in the miracles that Jesus performed? And he said, yeah, wholeheartedly. And the student said, prove it. So it kind of set him off on a journey to find out how he could do this.
Wasn't he a Buddhist though?
Well, when he was 53, 54, so this was 1918, 1919, he was accepted into the Zen Buddhist monastery so that he could study the Buddhist scriptures, the sutras, in search of healing. And he also learned Sanskrit, so he could go through the ancient texts.
Crikey, at 53.
Yep. Which is why I always say age is just a number, you can do anything you want. So when he was 57, he kind of felt he'd come to the end and he hadn't got anywhere, and he went off to a sacred mountain, Mount Kuriyama. I hope I've said that right as well. So he meditated for 21 days, and the story goes that he had 21 stones in front of him. He sat on top of the mountain and he meditated. And on the morning of the last day, he was hit in his third eye with these symbols, and I think that downloaded into his memory.
Yeah.
And kind of told him, give him Reiki, which was followed by, now how much of this is true or not?
Does it really matter?
Exactly. It's I think because of the way Japan is, it's a fascinating country, but it is very enclosed.
Yeah.
So the story, what we get out, but people do agree that this is what happened. But when he was coming down from the mountain after 21 days of fasting, you'd think he wouldn't be able to eat, which he did. He had a full meal, and that was meant to be one of the miracles, because he ate a normal meal and wasn't ill. He stubbed his toe on the way down the mountain and cut his toe, but he stopped and placed his hand on with directions of what he'd just been given, and the bleeding stopped. When he was eating the meal, the owner's daughter, her face was all puffy, she'd been crying, and when he asked her what was wrong, she said she had really bad toothache, so he placed his hands on her and the pain went. So then he rushed back to the monastery to see his old Zen master, who was riddled with arthritis and laid up in bed. So he went and cleaned himself up, came back, laid hands on his master, and essentially healed him. So they regard it as the 4 proofs that whatever had happened to him.
I had no idea about these things.
But what I find really interesting is the fact that it was when he was 57 that he founded his school in Tokyo, where he practiced Reiki and gave seminars and taught the techniques.
And Reiki, if I'm right, comes from a combination of 2 words, which is Re, which is...
So the Rei means universal life force energy.
Universal energy, the law of attraction. So we go again.
Rei means universal, and the Ki is the Japanese equivalent of Chi, so that's energy. Yeah, so it's Reiki. When he was 60, he moved his headquarters, but he actually died when he was 62. So, going by these dates, he practiced Reiki for 4 years, and I just find it really amazing that this middle-aged man, if you like, had gone. He knew there was something else. He'd studied it, he found it, and all these years later, Reiki is just, it's spread around the world. So many people embrace it. I think that's pretty amazing.
Just as on that, a couple of things there. Well, lots and lots of things there.
Sorry,
actually. But
carries away.
Something that's just struck a chord there is a few weeks ago we had a lady called Denise Oliver on the train, and Denise is a practitioner of what's the word I'm after? Bars. It's accessing your bars or releasing your bars. And she did a session with me here where all she did was lay her hands on me in different places on your head. Mm. Now, as I remember this, Denise didn't know about this, but I remember this. This was years ago. My father used to talk about having your bumps felt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, on your head. It was phrenology was a thing, sort of in the 40s and 50s. Denise didn't know anything about this, but the guy who actually has developed this particular treatment, particular therapy, doesn't sound much different from Miko, because he actually spent a long time looking at things and wondering how to use this universal energy. He was given some ways of practicing it, and then spent 10 years before he actually put it into use. Yeah. This is becoming, more and more people are beginning to get making this available, making use of it.
But that is one of the things that that I'm finding with Reiki and Reiki practitioners. A lot of people are, and most people, I'd say, when they've been practicing for a while, it's like with any you go to college and you learn how to do massage, and you follow that routine until about 2 years later, when you've got your confidence up and you've learned how to, you make it your own. People do that with Reiki as well.
So hang on a minute, I'm a massage practitioner, as you know.
Yeah.
So in the same way as I used to feel on somebody when I was massaging them where particular areas were, that they may say was nothing wrong with them, but I could feel there was something there, and it was outside the general perimeters of massage, but you would use techniques to shift that knot or whatever it may be in that person. I'm assuming you're saying the same sort of thing? No. No,
not really. So when I did my level 1 Reiki, I was taught you work like this. There's a specific way that you give a treatment. There's a specific way that you treat yourself. And I followed that religiously. When I moved on to level 2, you're shown the symbols, and so you kind of, because that's how you've been taught, you follow that until you get comfortable enough that you're more in touch with your own energy. And it's that learning what's your energy and what's somebody else's energy that you're interacting with. So, and having the confidence to trust in that and to let it flow. And then as you do that, each individual practitioner has their own specific, not even specific, their own little take on it. Because we're all individual. So how we treat and how we look at people is going to be slightly different, even if you're all taught the same. Our outlook's different, our energy's different, so therefore how you deliver, then that would be different.
I get that. I get that very much. It does make sense. Yeah. But you've said 3 things there which resonate with me and what other people I've spoken to on this show, which are things like you said earlier on about having your head in the right place.
Yeah.
And now you've just said about allowing things to come through because of the where you are and the where your mindset is. So having your head in the right place obviously is very important. And the other thing you've mentioned is energy, and it's letting this, for me, and from talking to other people, and I'm just wondering how you feel about this, having your head in the right place to channel that universal energy which is available to us all, but which, if we don't understand it, or we don't understand the effect of it.
Yeah, well, it's one of the biggest things I find with Reiki is when I give somebody a Reiki treatment, I'm not giving them my energy. I'm tapping into that energy that's spare floating around the universe. I'm passing it to them.
Spare floating, I like that.
Well, it
is.
It's dark matter, essentially. That's what I believe anyway.
Wow, you just brought in a whole new concept there. Carry on. Love it.
So I've totally lost my train of thought. Where was I going with that?
Dark matter.
Oh,
that's what you hear.
Yeah. So there's energy. conventional science is now catching up with a lot of the things that as energy healers we've known for a long time, you know, string theory, Einstein's theory of relativity, you know, energy equals mass. So you've got to have energy before you have mass. Everything in the universe is made up out of energy.
And we're talking about quantum physics.
Yeah. So, you know, people think that Reiki is a bit airy-fairy, and, you know, you can't... When I first started it, people couldn't quantify it, you know, whereas now, you know, you have things like the Schumann resonance.
Now, just before we go on to the Schumann resonance, because the Schumann resonance, we talked a little bit before about that, and that suddenly begins to make sense with me and with Reiki, because I have to say that having seen so many different things about Reiki, it's actually, how do I say this? It made it difficult for me to believe in it as a thorough treatment, because you've now got, and you just said you make it your own.
Yeah.
You've now got angelic Reiki healers. You mentioned earlier on to me today on the phone about dragon Reiki healers, and all these things. Yes, it is people making it their own, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there is an essence which is there. And I must say, when I did my first attunement, I wasn't impressed.
See, I think the other thing is as well, energy tells. I mean, I'm lucky and blessed enough that I've been in this business for 20 years this year. So, you know, that's a long time.
Yeah.
And I think you kind of, the people that have, how am I going to put this? If people aren't in it for the right reason, it tells. They don't last. And that's just a personal observation that I've made.
I'll accept that, because I had people coming through the therapy centre we had, and people would come in and I'm a masseur, and I do Reiki and I do something else. And those people came through the centre, and they came and we talked to them, and I noticed that those people aren't about anymore.
Yeah.
And that is quite interesting.
Well, you see, sorry to cut you again. One of the things, as a Reiki teacher, I love teaching Reiki, but I make sure that my courses meet all the National Occupational Standards guidelines. So, you know, I make sure that people have enough practice. Because the biggest thing is, you know, you can get an attunement, but there's so much more to energy than...
And if you don't look into it and practice it as you've done...
Yeah, and if you don't get to, you know, your energy changes. The more you use Reiki, the more your flow changes, the stronger it gets. But if you're not educated about how your energy feels, how do you know what's yours and what's somebody else's? How do you know what's not your ego stepping in and going, look at me,
hey,
I can
doing
do this.
Yeah.
And it's not you doing it. It's, you know, one of the most important things when you give a treatment is letting the other person set their intent, what they intend from that treatment. That's a very powerful thing to give to somebody, to say to them, you're in control here. You know, I'm just facilitating this, what's going on. I'm just acting, you know. That's why I find that a lot of my, what were Reiki clients, then become Reiki students, because they get, oh, okay, this is...
I understand,
I'm a part of this. So, yeah, so proper training is another thing that I'm very...
I find this quite fascinating. As people come on the train, as I meet people on the train, things like intent and what you actually do. This word intent comes up a lot, and the word energy comes up a lot.
Well, everything is energy before it's a thing. Everything's a thought before it, you know, we think of everything before it comes into being. And, you know, your brain doesn't know the difference between a dream and reality. You can tell your brain something, and, you know, if you tell it enough, your brain believes it. You know, it doesn't know that you're not telling the truth. So,
which is what the access bars does in actual fact, because it takes away that bar to allowing your brain to put into practice what you actually want to have in your reality.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds a little bit like, where's my magic wand and let me have a word with Harry Potter because I'm going to... But it is...
Yeah, but it's not just, you can't just think something. You've got to actually feel it.
So when I go out of here, my BMW will not be in the car park where I want it to be. Is that what you're telling me?
No, but it's like, because people say to me all the time, oh, you could just think about if you won the lottery, because it doesn't work like that. You know, people go on about The Secret and thing, and you know, and I get people that say, oh, you know, it worked for a little bit, or it didn't work at all, and we're all individual, so taking somebody else's what worked for somebody else.
It doesn't work because you don't understand it.
Well, there's that as well. You know,
and if you haven't understood what it is that you're actually trying to do...
But it's also, you've got to be very clear on what you want. You know, if you're a bit wishy-washy, the universe doesn't know. You know, if you say, I'm going to marry a millionaire, you know.
Well, I don't know. She'd have to be very pretty.
And a bit daft.
Oh, thanks.
Sorry, John.
And I see Chase over there behind the camera is nodding away quite sagely, saying, yes, that's right. Before we go any further, because oh wow, I can see platforms arriving. Well, tell me about the Schumann effect.
So the Schumann resonance. I'm going to read this because I'm not very good with dates and names. So
like the rest of us.
Yes.
It's an age thing, Jodie. Sorry.
Oh God. You're supposed to say that to me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know. So during the 1980s, a Dr. Robert Becker and a Dr. John Zimmerman and Max Cade each investigated what happens while people perform therapies like Reiki. They found that not only do your brainwave patterns of the practitioner and the receiver become synchronized in the alpha state, but they pulse in unison with the Earth's magnetic field, which is the Schumann resonance.
Right, let's just take a look at that carefully, because what you're saying is we all have brainwaves.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is that the practitioner and the recipient, patient or whatever, their brainwaves synchronize, and then together they pulse with the
into the Earth's magnetic field.
That is just that.
Okay, so people say it's a really interesting exercise to feel your own magnetic field. So do you want to have a go?
Go on.
Okay, so you ready? So hands, I want you to slap them together and then rub them really fast.
Yeah.
So you can depolarize in your hands.
They're hot.
Yes. And then slowly. Can you feel that? So if you move your hands slowly, can you feel that energy? That's your magnetic field.
That's weird.
Okay, so that's a basic exercise.
That's
so that you can
weird.
Feel, and it can feel quite.
Whoa.
So do the slap because you're building up the energy. There you go.
That's Chase. You can hear slapping in the background. Like killing wood.
And then you slowly move. I find if you bend your fingers slightly, for some reason you can feel it better, and you can feel it quite. So to me, that's a good way to show students that you're not just imagining this; you can feel this.
I actually do a thing with energy with the workshop where we take dowsing rods.
Oh yeah.
And actually douse people's energy fields, but you can actually show that by having a different intent, whether your intent is gentle and loving, or whether your intent is angry and hard, you can actually change the energy field.
Well, have you read that book, Messages from Water? I can't think of the guy's name. Have I not got it in this?
No, but I'll make a note in it. Messages from Water.
He's, again, Japanese scientist, and he had vials of water, and some of them they placed on pieces of paper with things written on, and others they spoke to, and some of them they'd say words like peace, love, happiness, and when they'd flash freeze them and then magnify them, and they're like the most beautiful snowflakes. They're all individual, they're absolutely beautiful. the ones that they placed or spoke to in a negative manner, war, I hate you, die, things like that, they're not nice. They look corrupted. They're not. There's a bit of debate over whether
it's perception. Yeah. Okay.
But the way I find that I find it fascinating is because we're mainly made up out of water. So if you're constantly giving yourself negative, then of course that has an effect on your body, not only on your mental, but on your physical body as well. Whereas that positivity, and it's the positivity that, being able to give yourself a Reiki treatment every day and just taking that time, for me, it's a meditative state.
This is actually, now you've mentioned the word meditation, this is actually having a positive meditation on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And you call it a self-Reiki healing.
Yeah.
But I do it in the morning, I do it just as a meditation.
Yeah. But see, I think with what's slightly different with when you do a Reiki healing is you're conscious of the hand positions where you need healing for yourself, or
So we're talking about symbols and hand positions again. Why are they important?
The symbols.
We've gone off the Schumann effect.
Yeah, we have. So which one do you want to go with, the symbols or the Schumann resonance?
We'll go on. Let's take a very quick look at the symbols and so on.
So the symbols, you receive 3 symbols in your level 2 training because that enhances the flow of the energy. I know you can go to books and find the symbols and what they mean, but I actually adhere to the sacredness of the symbols. That's just my personal belief. But I also do Karuna Reiki, which...
what Reiki?
Karuna. It was started by a guy called William Lee Rand, and it's a top-up to Usui Reiki. You have to have been a Usui master for at least 5 years before you can then go and do Karuna Reiki, which gives you even more symbols. And you know me, I'm very sceptical. I don't just take people's words for it.
No, I do know that, Jodie. I know that from very, very long experience.
So through my own experience, the difference in the energy and the vibration of the energy, because you draw the symbol. So by drawing the symbol, you're enacting, you're pulling that into you. You're participating in the.
So if I'm correct in what you're saying here, is the symbols actually enhance, because they concentrate your mind.
Yeah.
They actually enhance what it is that you're doing.
Yeah. And you say the name like a mantra as well. So each symbol has its own name, and this.
Now then, let's just draw that, if it's okay, into the Schumann effect, because the Schumann effect, you're talking about having drawing on people synchronizing, and you're talking about drawing on the Earth's energy.
Yeah.
Basically, the Earth's magnetic field, which is energy.
Yeah.
So the symbols are synchronizing all of that together.
Yeah, I suppose they are, yeah. I've never actually thought of it quite like that, but... So, let's see.
I feel like I've just discovered something, actually.
We all feel like that when we come at it. So, let's see. So, when you become synchronized, the biomagnetic field of a practitioner's hands are at least 1,000 times greater than normal. So that shows you the difference.
And this has been done scientifically?
This has been done scientifically.
So this has been measured. This is a measured effect?
Yeah.
So we're not talking airy-fairy stuff pulled out the air. This is stuff read off graphs and things which people tend to feel is real. And you've obviously got pages of things that you've looked at there and studied. Yeah,
because I mean, they because of this, let's see, I've lost where I was up to. So Tony Bunnell, 1997, I'm guessing that's when he wrote his paper, suggests that the linking of energy fields between practitioner and earth allows the practitioners to draw on the infinite energy source or universal energy field via the Schumann resonance.
Well, the Schumann probably is a resident.
Yeah. So, you know, discussions in quantum physics view of a living universe in which everything is connected in a living web of interdependence. That's basically the essence of Reiki.
This is actually beginning to give some substance to Sheldon's string theory.
And the thing that's so interesting is, you know, these are from 1980s, 1990s. So I think a lot of this is being hidden away.
When did the secret come out?
I don't know, I still haven't read it.
No, I still haven't read it either. But I mean, the thing is, all that was being talked about from about, is it 20 years ago?
Yeah.
I mean, anybody wants to make a comment on that, or let me know exactly what that is, or just put it on the comments section so we know when you look at these things, because a platform is approaching, and it's approaching quite rapidly, and I'm going to have to draw this to an end.
Okay.
But Jodie, you have given me, I think you've given us all a real insight there, but you've also shown that there is this link between Reiki healing, energetic healing in general, and this real Schumann effect, that we are and we can all draw on this universal energy to move ourselves forward.
Yeah, can I just finish on
one
note I want to read out to you? So, okay. So both Zinnerman in the USA and Seto in Japan further investigated the large pulsating biomagnetic field that emanates from practitioners' hands. They discovered that the pulses are the same frequencies as brain waves and sweep up and down from 0.3 to 30 Hz, focusing mostly in the 7 to 8 Hz alpha state. Independent medical research has shown that this range of frequencies will stimulate healing in the body, with specific frequencies being suitable for different tissues. For example, 2 Hz encourages nerve regeneration, 7 bone growth, 10 ligament bending, and 15 capillary formation. Physiotherapy equipment is based on these principles and designed for that. So I just wanted to leave you with that little bit. Okay.
As you can see, I'm not often short of words, but that is a really, really powerful piece of information. Jodie, thank you very much for that.
Welcome.
And thank you very much for coming on the train.
You're welcome.
We have drawn into the platform. This is Condor Online. And thank you very much, everybody.